All right, so welcome and good day to each and every one of you guys. Welcome to Early to CXC. Today we're going to in fact be looking at your POB revision for your paper one. My name is Mr. Ramdiel and I'm here to take you guys through January 2023 paper one, your POB in preparation for your POB exam. So guys, as you are now seeing on your screen, you would in fact be seeing my January 2023 paper. And we will in fact look at the instructions first of all. Now, remember guys, before we look at the instructions, remember your POB exam is happening this week and you want to get yourself very much prepared for this POB paper one. So we will in fact be looking at this revision paper and, getting ourselves ready for it, you guys. All right, great. Good. So here we are. So yes, we are in fact looking at your POB paper one in preparation for your POB paper one exams coming up this week. So here at Early to CXE, we are very much interested in your success. So today we're going to be doing a live session with your January 2023 paper one. So guys, let's in fact get on with it. Now your POB paper is in fact 1 hour, 15 minutes long, this paper one. And we are looking at the instructions for this year, January 2023. Now, usual instructions, as you guys would be accustomed to, the test going to consist of 60 items. You have 1 hour and 15 minutes to answer them. In addition to this answer booklet, well, in addition to this test booklet, you should have an answer sheet. Now, every item has four suggested answers, A, B, C, or D. Read each item that you're about to answer and decide which one is best. On your answer sheet, find a number which corresponds to your item, shade the space having the same letter as the answer you have chosen. And this here is the sample just below. Now, if you want to change your answer, erase it completely before you fill in your new choice. Now, when you are told to begin, turn the page and work as quickly and carefully as you can. If you cannot answer an item, go on to the next one. You may return to that later. Now, this point six here is really important. If you guys ever come across a question where you get kind of stuck with it, what you simply do is to skip it and move on and then come back to this one that we're giving you some issues. So you don't want to get bogged down or stuck with one particular question. Remember, you do in fact have a time limit, 1 hour and 15 minutes to get this entire question paper done with 60 marks. All right, guys, let's jump into it one time and let's begin. Now, I'll be asking you guys to help me out with these answers, but I'm here to guide you guys in the right direction with the correct answer. So using your chat box, and in that chat box, I will be looking at your suggested answers as we proceed. So guys, let's go at question one. Now, question one, the type of business environment most typical of the Commonwealth Caribbean is, well, I'm sure you guys would know what that answer would be. So Commonwealth Caribbean. This here is our Caribbean countries that we are in right now. And remember, our business environment will obviously be our mixed economic system. I'm sure you guys know what your mixed economic system is. Your mixed economic system is basically where we have both the private sector and the public sector in operation. So good job, guys. So let's move on to question two. A firm that disposes of waste in an ethical manner is said to be demonstrating its responsibility to whom? Now, disposal of waste affects us all, especially the environment for sure, guys. If a firm disposes their waste in an ethical manner, they will in fact be demonstrating their responsibility towards a society. So easy stuff so far, guys. I'm sure you guys got those things correct. Well done. Time for us to now move on to question three. So let's check out question three. Which of the following types of checks allows an individual to receive cash on demand? Now, cash on demand simply means you take that check, go to the bank, go up to the teller gonna hand you money over the counter. And when you have a check where you can get money over the counter, just like that, it will in fact be noted as an open check. So number three, your answer is in fact A as well. And put a tick right next to A as well. So guys, looking pretty good so far. Not too bad. Question one, question two, question three, pretty good. Now question four. Now, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat box. And yes, I'm seeing answers coming fast and furious in chat box as well. So well done, guys. So here what, guys? Let's see if you can help me out with number four. Number four may in fact be a little tricky, but I'm sure you guys will in fact get this one totally correct. So let's try question four, guys. Which of the following items are not considered to be consumer goods? So guys, what you're telling me about this one, which are not. Now, CXC loves these type of questions. Remember, I told you that already. They love to see things like are not, will not, which is not. So, which of the following items are not considered to be consumer goods? So, who could give me the answer for this one? All right, so just looking at the chat box to see what you guys could come up with. All right, guys. Well, the answer for question four should in fact be C, stationery used in the accounting department, guys. Now, why? Now, remember, consumer goods. Consumer goods are goods that are used by consumers, for their own private benefit. So, stocks of soft drinks for resale, consumers will purchase those for use. For use, cars in a dealership, consumers will buy them to use, for their personal use. Bottled water on the shelf of supermarket, those goods will be purchased to use by consumers, their personal use. But stationery used in the accounting department. The accounting department of a business uses stationery. This is being used for business purposes and not personal use. Therefore, stationery used in the accounting department will not be considered a consumer good. So, hoping you guys got question four correct. Answer is in fact C. Good job. All right, guys, not too bad. Let's move on to number five. Now, question five, which of the following is a characteristic of a sole trader, which is not advantageous to the owner? So look again, guys. CX is coming back at you with this thing. It's not advantageous to the owner. So which one here is a characteristic of a sole trader, but is not advantageous to the owner? I'm sure you guys know the answer. Question five, the answer is in fact A, unlimited liability. No, unlimited liability simply means if your business has debts to pay and you actually go bankrupt, you as a sole trader will have to sell all your personal assets to cover those debts, right? And that's not a benefit to the owner in terms of having a sole trader business. So unlimited liability, A is your answer. Good job, guys. Time for us to move on to question six. Now, question six, characteristics of online communication include. Now, online communication is exactly what we are doing here right now. We are communicating to each other online, right? So, because we have online communication, we will in fact have instant feedback because I can ask you guys a question, you guys could give me the answer. We could have detailed messaging. I can write out a long script for you guys to have a look at. And in fact, you're looking at the low questions right now. And documented evidence as well. Yes, guys. So question six answer is in fact D, one, two, and three. So not too bad, guys. Looking pretty awesome so far as well with those six questions. Great. All right, guys, let's move on some more. So right now we are in question seven. Let's see what question seven says, guys. Question seven. So question seven is asking us, which of the following management functions is a manager engaging when he grants a worker time off with pay? I mean, guys, if you all are workers, or when you guys become workers working in different industries and so on, and your manager tells you, okay, you can leave work early, but you're still gonna be paid, that's pretty good for us as a worker. When workers get, opportunities like that, they get in time off with pay is very motivating to workers because it'll encourage them to work. So yes, guys, question seven answer is in fact C. Good job. Right, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to lay them out in the chat box. Let me know what's going on. If you have any feedback, let me know as well. Now, guys, we are in fact, handling this paper one paper today. We're going to be having another session as well. And all of this is in preparation for your POB exam that's coming up pretty soon. So, guys, make sure and like and subscribe to Early to CXC, where your success is very important to us, guys. Feel free to leave your comments as well. Click that notification bell so when we upload brand new content, you will in fact get your instant notifications. We're also having our crash programs for our POB and the crash program. You'll be able to see the link in the chat box very soon. The crash program will be happening on Thursday afternoon, guys. So the crash course for your POB paper one going to be happening on Thursday afternoon. So when the link is placed in the chat box, click on the link and sign up for those classes for sure. All right, guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys then for your POB crash course program on Thursday, the 22nd. Right, guys, let's move on to question 8. So, a major role of a trade union is to do what? Now, you guys know what trade unions are. Trade unions are organizations that, are there for your workers. So, the main role of a trade union, notice again, CXC put this in capital letters, major role of a trade union is, in fact, answer here will be, in fact, C, guys. Check it out. Now, all of these options here, in fact, some of these options are rules of a trade union, increasing salaries, making sure workers are unionized. Yes, but the major, you see this word major? The major rule, the main aim for trade unions is make sure the welfare, the general welfare of the workers are advanced. So question 8, answer is in fact C. Good job so far. All right, guys, so time for us to move on to question 9. So let's have a look at question 9. Let's check it out. Now, question 9 is also a pretty simple question. Which of the following phrases best describes an authoritarian leader? Now, authoritarian, guys, you know what an authoritarian leader is? Authoritarian leader is one who makes his own decisions, one who doesn't take workers' um, point of view into consideration. So therefore, the best answer for question 9 will in fact be B. Making decisions without consultations, that is your authoritarian leader. Yeah, guys, there we go. Good job. Nicely done. All right, guys, so time for us to move on to question 10. Now, so far, all these questions are very straightforward. They weren't too lengthy. They just asked, one sentence, and then you had to give an answer from the suggestions below. But now we are here to question 10, which has a little paragraph. Now, just as how I showed you guys how to answer these paragraph questions in POE, same thing for POB. What you need to do is just read the requirement below. This conflict is a result of, and now you go to the top and you read the paragraph, and now you already program yourself to know what you're looking for in terms of your answer. Right? So question 10 asks us, this conflict is a result of something. So now we know before we even read the paragraph that we're looking at a conflict. Let's go. Richard has been an employee of MTS Limited for over 10 years. He's up for a promotion at the end of the year. A manager's nephew was recently hired, has been promoted to head of Richard, and upset Richard has taken this issue to his trade union. So, guys, do y'all think y'all could tell me what the answer for this one will be, guys? What y'all think the answer will be for this one? Are we looking at question 10, guys? Right, so answer for question 10 should in fact be, right, A, guys. Very good. Question 10 answer is in fact A. Pretty good job. Unfair practices. Nice. Let's move on to number 11. So at number 11, which of the following categories will subsidized meals for employees falls? Now, subsidized meals simply means that employees will be getting these meals at a cheaper price, and even free. That we like that word, right? Subsidized meals. So, guys, question 11 should in fact be A, fringe benefits. Well done. I'm seeing you guys have that answer in chat box as well. So, awesome job. So, let's move on to question 12. Now, question 12, which of the following is an example of an entrepreneur? So this is in fact, giving us an question based on the topic of entrepreneurship. So which one here is an example of an entrepreneur, guys? So let's check it out. Now we're on to question 12, right? So we're on to question 12. So let's check out question 12. Now, question 12, which is following is an example of entrepreneur. Now, Joe rents an office space. Roger goes to the bank to get a loan. Sally occasionally babysits a neighbor's child. Donna operates an online bakery from her home. So, we guys think the answers for this question 12, guys, right? Entrepreneurship is simply when persons take a risk to engage in a business. And while the best answer here will in fact be D, Donna operates an online bakery from her home. That is a perfect example of entrepreneurship. Well done. Now, question 13, let's move on. Now, one of the main functions of an entrepreneur is to do what? So remember, an entrepreneur is someone who takes a risk to, in fact, engage in operating, setting up and operating a business. So the main function of entrepreneur here will be to, what do you guys think about this one? Question 13. Question 13, guys. One of the main functions of an entrepreneur is to do what? Question 13. Well, remember the entrepreneur, as I just said, organizes factors of production and take the risk of operating and running a business, guys. So yes, you're totally correct. Organizing factors of production is the answer for question 13. Great job. Now, question 14. Let's go on to question 14 now. Now, as usual, as you guys getting accustomed to this paper and these questions that CXC put out to you guys, they put certain words in capital letters, and this word here is now the main benefit of collateral. So it means that some of these suggested answers here are benefits of collateral, yes, but they want to know what's the main benefit of collateral to the lender. So guys, let's see what this answer should be. Now, pay attention. Certain questions, they might change it up. They might say main benefit of collateral to the borrower. So you all have to read the questions carefully. In this case, they're saying the main benefit of collateral to the lender. So the person is lending money, you know, how is collateral beneficial to them? Well, the proper answer for this question 14 should in fact be A, guys, because you all know collateral is security pledged against a loan. So if the borrower fails to pay, then the lender can actually seize that collateral, sell it, and recover their money. So great job, guys. Question 14 answer is in fact A. Good job. So let's move on to question 15. Question 15, the condensed version of the business plan, which provides an overview of the businesses contained where. Now, business plan is this plan, this document that entrepreneurs will put together when they are setting up a brand new business. There are many benefits of a business plan, but this question asks us about parts of the business plan. The condensed version. Condensed means the summary. So the summary, the condensed version of the business plan will appear as part of the executive summary. Good job again. All right, guys, you're all doing pretty well with these questions and answers so far. I'm seeing, correct answers coming up in the chat box right throughout. So awesome job. Right, guys, moving on to question 16. Which of the following variables is not? Again, this is not. This negative part that CXC likes to hit out is not an element of a feasibility study. Now, a feasibility study, as you all know, is a study that will be engaged in to see, if this business will be worthwhile or not. So which one is not part of the feasibility study? And the answer for question 16 should in fact be D, business design. Yes, awesome job, guys. To know if your business will do well, you must consider the target market, must consider demand, you're going to consider profitability, but business design that's not part of your feasibility study. Nicely done. Now, question 17. Time to move on to question 17. Good job. Nice. So the monthly payments collected by insurance company from its policyholders are known as what, guys? So let's see what the answer should be. So insurance companies, policyholders pay them every month for insurance coverage. When we pay insurance companies coverage for compensation for insurance and stuff, we call that a premium, guys. So question 17, the answer is B, the monthly payment collected by insurance companies from its policyholders are known as premiums. Good job. Now, I'd like to encourage you guys to make a note of all the questions that you all are getting correct. So when we are finished, you all could tally up and add up how much you got correct out of 60. And I always like to encourage persons to get at least 50 and more correct, guys. Once you get 50 and more correct, it means that you're on your way to passing your paper, because you all know that your paper one is made up of a lot of marks that will go towards your final paper. Remember, paper two was 100%, paper one is 60, well, not 100%, 100 marks, paper one is 60 marks, and your SP is another 40 marks. So see exactly grades you out of 200. I'm sure you guys realize that, right? Good job, guys. Let's move on to question 18. Now, if Polar offers to sell Barry an umbrella for $50, but Barry offers to pay 40, this is an example of what, right, guys? This is a contract question. So Barry offers, or Polar offers Barry the umbrella for 50, but Barry says he only could pay 40. Yes, guys, Barry is engaging in a counter offer. So question 18 answers, in fact, B. Good job. Question 19. Which of the following factors prevent an agreement from being considered a valid contract? These questions ask us about contracts now. So which of the following factors prevents an agreement from being considered a valid contract? Well, you guys know, for a contract to be valid, you must have consideration, you must have legal purpose, you must have offer and acceptance. The one here that will prevent a contract from being valid is, in fact, misrepresentation. So not too bad, looking good here, guys. Awesome job. All right, let's move on to question 20, guys. Again, another contract question. Let's check out question 20. Now, a contract may be discharged by what? Now, discharge means ends or terminated. So a contract may end or be terminated by, what do you guys think? Well, breach. Breach is when one party fails to carry out their side. So yeah, a contract could end because of breach, right? A contract can end because of lapse of time as well. Correct. Very good. But what about offer and acceptance? A contract will not end because of offer and acceptance. If there's offer and acceptance, the contract actually begins. So therefore, the answer is 1 and 2, which is in fact A. Good job. All right, guys, so looking pretty good so far. I would encourage you guys to, as I said, check up make sure and give your suggested answers. So at the end, you all could check your marks and see how much you all got, aiming to get at least 50 and more out of 60. That's our plan. Let's move on again. So moving on again to question 21. Let's check out question 21. Now, which of the following is not a primary industry, guys? Which is not a primary industry? Well, primary industry is that industry which extracts raw materials from the earth, primary extractive, as you guys know. But they're asking us which is not, again, this negative part that CXL loves. So mining is extractive or primary, fishing and farming as well. So the most obvious answer here will be D, building. So building is in fact, not primary. Building is like secondary. We're actually taking raw materials and converting it into a finished product. So D was your answer for question 21. All right, guys, question 22. Again, we are into the topic of production, as you guys realize, right? So the factor of production which earns interest. You have four factors of production: land, labor, capital, enterprise. But which one will earn interest? Those of you who know your POA, this will help you. What have you guys ever seen from POA that tells you about interest in terms of any of these factors here? Well, interest on capital. You guys remember that from your POA when you were looking at the partnerships topic? So yes, guys, capital is that factor of production which earns interest. So very good. Question 20, your answer is in fact C. So you'll actually see how POA can help with POB and vice versa. Right? Good job. Now, question 23, which of the following is not, again, guys, I mean, you're getting so accustomed with these negative aspects, is not classified as a natural resource. So which one here, guys? Question 23. I'm going to slow down here a little bit for you guys, and let me see if you guys can help with this one. which is not classified as a natural resource. So what do you guys think? Now, a natural resource is something that comes, from the earth, natural resource, which is not a natural resource. This question seemed a bit tricky, but you guys got it. The answer is a sugar, right? Sugar is actually gotten from the sugar cane plant, right? So it's not a natural resource there, right? So we're good to go. Nicely done, guys, right? So 24, the term economic economies of scale refers to what? Now, there's a bit of econ coming in here, but nonetheless, we could answer this. Economies of scale basically means when your output increases, your cost decreases. So what is that there, guys? Which applicable answer says that? When your output increases, your cost decreases. Question 24. That answer should be D. Awesome job again. Good job, guys. Well done. Nicely done. Good stuff. Looking pretty good. So question 1 and 24 handle up pretty nicely. So guys, let's move on to question 25. Now, question 25, again, we are into still in the production chapter, as you guys realize. Another question based on labor. Remember, we said labor was a factor of production, so we are still here. So labor is best defined as what? So what you guys think? Now, some of these questions, if not the majority of these questions, I have to read through all your suggested answers and use the process of elimination to eliminate the ones that I think are not correct, right? But this is a pretty close question because it said labor is best defined as. So you will have some answers inside of this pretty close, but what's your best answer, guys? Your best one. So labor is best defined as what? So question 25. Let's see what you all could tell me from question 25. All right, so just waiting to see what suggestion you guys will have for question 25. Yes, labor is in fact your physical and mental capabilities used to perform tasks. Very good. I remember workers are paid wages. Workers are paid wages, because of their physical and mental, performance when getting a job done. The answer is in fact B. Labor is best defined as the physical and mental capabilities used to perform a task. Good job, guys. Nicely done. Not too bad. So yeah, the answers can be very, very close, but again, this word highlighted in yellow here, this is the best. Labor is best. Answer is in fact B. All right, question 26, guys. Primary production is concerned with what? So I did in fact see someone post that up in the chat box earlier on. Primary production is all about extracting raw materials from the earth, which is provision of raw materials for question 26. Answer is in fact C. Well done, guys. All right, so you're almost halfway there, guys. Remember, this paper is 60 multiple choice questions. We are looking at question 27 right now, so we're continuing along. Which of the following are features of a cottage industry? Now, CXC loves this type of question with cottage industry. They normally ask the characteristics of cottage industries. Now, cottage industry involves family-run production, and it also involves minimal investments as well. And cottage industry doesn't involve mass production. Mass production is when you're producing hundreds of items at the same time. But cottage industry is small scale level of industry, small scale production. Therefore, answer should be 1 and 3. So therefore, that should in fact be B. There we go, guys. Good job. Moving on to question 28. The term loss leader is just best described as a product which, so here guys, we're now heading into marketing. I'm sure you guys seeing how the little structure that this POB exam and is all about, right? We did production, now we're moving on to marketing. So question 28. The term loss leader is best described as a product which, I know many businesses engage in loss leader. They want to put a product out there select at a loss just to attract customers. And when you come into their shop, then you might be tempted to buy something more expensive. Yeah, guys. So this is a real thing that happens out there all the time. They put a little table in the front, put items at a very cheap price, encourage you to pick up those items and walk into their shop. When you walk in their shop, you might see something else that you'd want. So therefore, a loss leader is sold cheaply to attract customers. Well done, guys. Question 28 answer is in fact C. Good job. Now we're going to move on to question 29. Again, we are here in the marketing section of your syllabus, merchandising. Right, guys. So what can you tell me about merchandising? Merchandising is in fact, a nice area in marketing to look at. Being a merchandiser is an actual job as well. So merchandising, guys, what can you all tell me about merchandising? Now, a merchandiser is one person who actually, well, the job entails, enhancing the visual and physical aspects of selling. Packing products in a certain way in the supermarket to make it attractive, you know, seeing about an online website, making it look really attractive. All that is merchandising, guys. So merchandising looks at attracting consumers through visual aspects. So highlighting the physical and visual aspects of selling. This is what merchandising is. And you all could become merchandisers sometime in the future as well. So now we're going to move on to question 30. Let's check out question 30. Which of the following can be described as a marketing activity? So, guys, take your time with question 30. Since we are halfway here through this entire paper, I want to give you guys another chance to get question 30 correct. So, which of the following can be described as a marketing activity, guys? What do you all think about that? Look at the different suggested solutions and choose the best one here, guys. What can be described as marketing? Now, marketing is all about trying to attract consumers with your products. You guys know that, right? Marketing engages things like packaging and advertising and so on. So, marketing activity here would in fact be B, distributing commodities to outlets. There we go, guys. All right, so marketing involves distributing commodities outlets. Now, some persons might see the word advertising and they jump and put in C one time, but no, guys, if you read it carefully, they say advertising, not products, but vacancies within the organization. So that is not correct. So don't just see the word advertising and say, oh, yeah, that's the answer. No, guys. Proper answer for question 30 is in fact B. Good job. Nicely done. So question 31, which of the following situations is necessary for the existence of a market, guys? Now, the term market has different definitions. You guys know that, right? But the broad sense of it all, a market is simply where you have buyers and sellers interacting. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical place because we have online websites right now, and that is considered an a market, right? You have buyers and sellers interacting. So good job, guys. Well done. Nice done for question 31 as well. Good stuff. All right, guys. So we're on to question 32, which is in fact, another marketing question. And again, look at the capital letters here, the caps, the primary function of advertising. So it means that, some of these suggested answers can in fact be functions of advertising, yes, but primary means the main function of advertising, guys. What's the main idea behind advertising? What do you all think? Question 32. Well, the primary function behind advertising would in fact be to, yes, guys, I'm seeing you'll have the answer. C, to communicate information. Good job. Well done, guys. All right, awesome. So, guys, do not forget to subscribe to Early to CXC. Make sure and hit the like button as well. Make sure and leave your comments in the chat box because we love to hear from you guys. Um, Make sure and click on the links that you'll see in the chat box where you can sign up for your crash programs that's coming up this week. Your POB crash course, I told you guys, will in fact be on Thursday, so please sign up for that. Where we'll get some more information and some more practice based on paper ones. We also plan to another live session for POB paper one, and that's coming up later on this week as well. So good job, guys, right? So here we go with question 33. So let's move on. So which of the following activities carried out in a large firm will not be under the supervision of the marketing manager? So guys, we're still here with marketing. So which will not, again, this thing here will not be under the supervision of the marketing manager. So guys, we all think the answer should be here. Now, marketing involves advertising, marketing involves packaging, marketing involves distribution. But marketing has nothing to do with purchasing. So B is in fact your answer. Question 33 answers in fact B. Good job. Now, question 34, guys. I mean, this is a nice one here. You guys have learned about your marketing mix, which is all about the four P's. But which one here is the four correct P's, guys? You all remember the four P's? Marketing mix. Well, your marketing mix should in fact be product, price, promotion, place. Pretty good job, guys. So CXC gave you guys a set of different P's here for you guys to get a little confused. But it's all about having the right product. Remember this, at the right price, using the right promotional strategies, and having your product at the right place. So once you have your four P's, you should be able to make a sale and earn profits, right? So A, product, price, place, promotion. There we go. Good job. Now we're gonna move on to question 35. So question 35, we're actually moving on to logistics. Right, we're seeing this thing called GPS. So let's check out GPS, guys. Everybody knows what GPS is nowadays. You'll have GPS on your cell phone. So GPS means Global Positioning Systems. Well done. Good. GPS will be used to track persons and cargo and so on, right? And even assets. Well done. All right, question 36. Which of the following list shows the correct order of the chain of distribution? So, guys, let's talk about chain of distribution. Chain of distribution basically shows, the movement of goods from one point to another, and basically movement of goods from the manufacturer to your consumer. So guys, the answer is either C or D down at the bottom. But which one will you guys go with? Would you go with C? Would you guys go with D? So chain of distribution looks at the movement of goods from your manufacturer to your consumer. So yes, yes, guys, you are correct. I'm seeing it in the chat box. All of you guys saying D, manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, then consumer. Pretty good job. Well done, guys. Awesome stuff. That was the answer for question 36. Now, question 37, guys. Which of the following types of providers are FedEx and DHL? Let's see what this one is for question 37. Now, question 37 is all about logistics providers. These are all about companies that help persons to move goods from one place to another. And these are businesses that will help persons move goods, transport goods, store goods, and so on. So FedEx and DHL, they are logistics providers. But are they first party, second party, third, fourth, or fifth? Well, FedEx and DHL, they will be considered to be third-party logistics providers or 3PLs. 3PLs, guys, 3PLs. Now, 3PLs are those organizations that would have means of transport, yes, but apart from having means of transport like airplanes and trucks and so on, they also provide other services like warehousing and insurance. And FedEx and DHL, they in fact do those things, right? Good job, guys. Well done. So B for question 37, third-party logistics. Awesome. Good. So let's move on to question 38. Which of the following documents issued by a carrier shows ownerships of imported goods? So when you are importing goods, you have this piece of paper, this document that shows ownership of the goods being imported. So guys, question 38. What do you guys think the answer to question 38 is? It shows ownership of imported goods, guys. So this piece of paper you have in your hand, you can use this piece of paper to show that you are the owner of the goods that would have been brought by the carrier to you. Carrier means like a shipping agent and so on. So yeah, guys, the bill of lading is in fact your answer. Good job. BOL. That's a transport document question. So not too bad, right? Let's move on to question 39. A supply chain is best defined as. So here what, guys? This one is pretty important. Now, question 39. A supply chain is best defined as the. So guys, Again, you see the word highlighted best. So you could have a couple close answers there, but you have to figure out which one is the best. So what do you guys think is the best option here? Supply chain is best defined as. Now, a supply chain is simply when you are moving raw materials to your supplier, and then the supplier will now manufacturer. Well, when I say supplier, I mean the manufacturer. So raw materials moving to the manufacturer. Manufacturer then make products and then send it to the consumer. So you will in fact have a different set of resources involved in moving products from suppliers to customers, guys. This one was a tricky one. It was. The answer could have either gone with C or D, but the best option here, guys, is in fact C. The best option is C. You know why? Because I mean, I'm gonna tell you why, right? Now, when you guys join the crash course, you'll learn more about this. But why we say C, let me just give it to you really quickly. Because D is just speaking about finished products only. But supply chain looks at raw materials moving to a manufacturer, and then the manufacturer make those finished products and then move them to customers. So this is what we're going to see. We have a network of resources. This is a little more broad. Network of resources where products move from suppliers to customers. So suppliers of raw materials sending raw materials to manufacturers who will now make the items and then send them to customers. That's why we went with C, guys. Right? That's why we went with C. So suppliers of raw materials, sending raw materials to manufacturers who then manufacture goods, and then those goods will reach down to consumers. So C would in fact be the better option here. In fact, the best option. But I agree, it was pretty close with C and D because some textbooks you can see these words here, point of origin, but D is just talking about finished products. C is talking about suppliers to customers. So we're gonna go with C, a network of resources. All right, guys, not too bad. Question 39 looks pretty good. All right, question 40. JB Auto Company decided to export car engines from Barbados to Trinidad, which of the following methods is best suited for transporting engines. So you are transporting heavy engines from Barbados to Trinidad, guys. So which is the best method here? Best method of transporting engines from Barbados to Trinidad, heavy engines, these are heavy items, will in fact be C, guys. Sorry, yes. Well, SEAC, the answer is in fact B, C. Correct. Or marine transport, we should say, right? B is our answer. Good job. All right, time for us to move on to question 41. Which of the following services are provided by commercial banks? Well, you guys know that commercial banks are those banks that are within your community area. The central bank is the main bank that runs all commercial banks in your country, but the commercial banks is smaller banks, in different towns and so on, right? So what services are usually provided by commercial banks? Well, they do in fact offer loans to small businesses and they do in fact accept deposits. Answer for question 41 is in fact C. Controlling the money supply, that's the central bank, right, guys? So that's not commercial banks, but that's the central bank. So commercial banks, 2 and 3. Well done. Good job. Time for us to move on to question 42. Let's check out question 42. Mr. Jones has several bills of fixed amounts to pay each month. His bank manager agrees to pay them monthly from Mr. Jones' account. This service provided by the bank is referred to as what? So question 42. So here what, guys? We enter the section of banking or business finance. You guys realize that, right? So you see how the topics are. We have a bunch of questions based on different sections. Right now, we enter the topic with the section of business finance. So we talk about banking and so on. So Mr. Jones, he has to pay a bill every month, fixed amount every month. He might sometimes forget to pay this amount, so he will engage in a standing order with the bank for the bank to pay this for him. Good job. Well done. So C was the answer. Now time for us to move on to question 43. So financial investment can be defined as what, guys? Financial investment. Now, financial investment. Now, investment is where you put in something hoping to get a return. So investment is when you put in, hoping to get something out of it. So financial investment can be defined as A, assets that generate income. So question 43, the answer is in fact A as well. Good job, guys. Looking pretty good. Time for us to move on to question 44. Let's check out question 44. One of the major functions of the central bank is to what, guys? We just briefly spoke about central bank above. When we study central bank, someone said the central bank controls the monetary supply. Well done. So what here is one of the major functions that they perform from these suggested answers below? Well, definitely, you all know the answer for this one. They will, in fact, issue notes and coins. A is totally correct. Well done, guys. Looking pretty good so far. So, question 45 is plan for systematic saving and spending is referred to as what? Now, you guys are budding businessmen. You guys are going to be accountants or working in the business sector using your POB, right? So, I'm sure you guys know all about these words trading, investing, finance, and budgeting. So, guys, you have a systematic way to know how much money you should save and spend. Well, obviously, that should in fact be your budgeting. Yes, guys, D is correct. Awesome. So we spoke so much about the central banks. Now I have a question 46. Who owns and controls the central bank, guys? Who you all think? The central bank is owned and controlled by whom? What you all think is the answer to question 46? Central bank is owned and controlled by whom, guys? What you all think about that? Who owns the central bank? Well, definitely the government is in charge, guys. Good job. So you all realize the government is in charge of the central bank, right? And then the central bank is in charge of the commercial banks. So who is basically in charge of all the money in the country? Who knows about your money as well? Is it government? Because the government is in charge of the central bank, and central bank controls commercial banks. Then the government is the body in charge of all the monetary aspects in your country, guys. So if you didn't know, now you know. So let's move on to question 47. Which of the following measures are used by governments to redistribute income? So you're talking about governments now, role of the government. That's what we are in. So which of the following measures are used to redistribute income? Now, you guys know what redistribute income means, right? Redistribute income means they're going to take money from the rich and give it to the poor. That's what they basically mean. Redistribute income, take money from the rich and give it to the poor. That's what they normally, that's what they talk about, right? So, what can be used to redistribute income? What can be used to make person's income, almost the same? Yes, guys, answer is in fact C, PAYE, and national insurance. You all know why, right? Because these are, well, we did POA the other day. You guys know what these things are. These are statutory deductions. These are amounts of money that come out from your gross pay before you get your net pay, and they vary. The more money you make, the more PAYE you pay, and PAYE means pay as you earn. So the more money you make, the more tax you pay. So good job, guys. Well done. Question 48. Which of the following institutions facilitates the sale and purchase of existing securities? So, guys, what do we mean about securities? Well, securities deals with shares. So, which of the following institutions facilitates the sale and purchase of shares? Well, you guys know the answer for this one. Answer for this one will in fact be D, your stock exchange. Stock exchange is that institution that will in fact allow for purchase and sale of shares and other securities. So there we go. Question 48, the answer is in fact D. Good job. Right, guys, question 49. So we're coming down close to the end. Which of the following activities is a function of the Chamber of Commerce? Now, Chamber of Commerce, this is an institution within your economic environment, so economic institutions. So a Chamber of Commerce is basically an organization of businesses. So what are their function? Well, the function of the Chamber of Commerce is, in fact, D, advance the interests of the business community. So instead of businessmen come together to form this chamber of commerce where they look out for each other, that is D, advance the interests of the business community. Good job. All right, moving on to question 50. Tax paid on goods entering the country is known as what, guys? Talk to me here for question 50. Tax paid on goods enter a country is known as what? Now, you guys should know about this because when you import products from abroad, you have to pay money towards the government to get the product. So what money do you pay to the government to actually receive the item that you imported from abroad? So you're on question 50, guys. Let me see if you all can help me with question 50. So you import the product, you have to pay the government to get that product in your possession. Yes, you have to pay custom duties. Good job. So custom duties basically a tax that you pay the government, when importing goods into your country. Nice. Well, it's not nice, right? But you know what I mean? Nice that we got the answer correct. We'd love to have custom duties removed, but that is one way the government earns revenue, right? If they do remove custom duties, it means imported products become cheaper for us. But right now, it's not gonna happen. Let's go. Question 51, guys. So export license are issued mainly to what? So again, you're paying attention to the keyword mainly. So export license are issued mainly to do what, guys? So take a read of it. I want you guys to give me your suggested answer. So in the meantime, while you all read it through, just to remind you guys again to subscribe to Early to CXC, to our channel. Make sure to hit the like button, guys. I'm sure you guys are enjoying today's sessions. Hit your like button. Make sure and click your notifications. Hit the little bell there. So when we issue brand new content, you'll be notified immediately. Also, sign up for a crash course program for POB Paper 1. It will be given to you guys at a very much discounted price. And we are here to help you guys ensure success at your different subject levels. Okay. That crash course of POB going to be happening on Tuesday. And I plan to have another live session with you guys for another Paper 1, later on this week as well. Right. So look out for those things. So once you all subscribe and you'll get your notifications as to when those classes should in fact be. All right, so question 51, guys. Let's check out question 51. Export license are issued mainly to, well, some persons might argue that say the answer could be A, encourage local businessmen to produce more goods for export. But the main reason why the government issue export license is because when they give a license, it means that they are giving you permission to export goods. So the main reason why they give a license is to give you permission to export the goods because they want to know what goods you are exporting. Yeah, guys, government is very, very smart. So B, enable the government to control the flow of goods being exported. Once they give out export license, they will keep a control over what goods are being exported. So the answer is in fact B, pretty much easy, right? Good job. Question 52, guys. Which of the following objectives is an economic aim of the government? Now, once you see this word economic, what should come to your mind is money, guys. Yeah, briefly, that's it. Economic aim, it talks about money, right? So which one here talks about handling up the money in your country, guys? Well, that should in fact be C. 52, your answer is in fact C. Well done. All right, guys, so I think we're looking pretty good so far. Nothing giving us much trouble, if any at all. So let's continue moving on to question 53. What is the most likely effect on a developing economy when professionals and skilled labor migrate to developed countries? So you had to take your time to read this question, right, guys? What is the effect on a developing economy? So a country that's now developing, you have people leaving that country. So if a country is now developing and people leave the country, what's going to happen? All right, guys, proper answer for question 53 would in fact be C, because people leaving the country, our production levels of goods and services will now decrease. Good job. Answer question 53 answers in fact C. Nice done. Now, question 54. Let's move on to question 54. Governments can encourage business activity by doing what? How could they encourage business? What do you guys think? Suppose you guys were in government and you want to encourage business activity in your country. What will you do? You want to encourage people to have businesses. You want to encourage businesses in your country. What will you do, guys? Let's suppose you are in government. What is your suggestion? You can encourage activity by, yes, if you reduce taxes, it means that people have more money to spend, they'll have more money to invest in business activity and so on. So very good job, guys. So yeah, so one day you guys will in fact be in government. You guys are the future. So nice. I like the way you guys are thinking because you know exactly what you plan to do when you guys reach that point. Yeah, guys, you guys are the future, right? So one day you guys, some of you guys will be in government, I'm sure. All right, let's move on to question 55. So question 55, let's go on. An employment problem in developing countries with a large workforce may best be solved by increasing what? So guys, again, these capital letters coming in here. We have unemployment happening. We have a large workforce. Large workforce means you have plenty people willing and able to work. So if you have a lot of people willing and able to work, but we do in fact have a serious unemployment problem, what can we do? What do you guys think for question 55, guys? Suppose you all are in government again and you realize your country have a serious unemployment problem, people unemployed, plenty of people willing to work, but you can't get jobs. So, guys, the best thing to do here for question 55 will in fact be to engage in labor-intensive production. That's C, guys, labor-intensive, because labor-intensive actually, is where you actually give workers work to do. If you go with capital intensive means that you're using machinery to get a job done, and that's what you do not want. Because if you have more machinery getting a job done, it have workers being unemployed. But since you have plenty of people there, engage in labor-intensive production where they will be able to use their labor, their manual and physical effort to get a job done. And they're going to get a job, right? Good. So question 56. Which of the following measures are used to protect the environment? Well, you guys know all about these things. Recycling, definitely correct, right? You're going to use recycling to protect the environment. Deforestation, definitely not. Deforestation is where you're actually cutting down the trees. We don't want that, right? So that wouldn't help. So deforestation, where you cut down the trees. That's not going to help the environment. Water conservation, definitely yes. So answers 1 and 3. Question 56, answer should in fact be B. Good job. Well done, guys. Looking pretty good. Nicely done. So we're going to move on to question 57. So you're almost there to the end, guys. 57. Which of the following management information systems is most appropriate for buying and selling of goods? Notice what I did. I went straight down and read the requirement. In this actual question, I may not even need to go back and read the paragraph above because I know what it asked me here for already. Which of the following MIS systems, that's your software system, is most appropriate for buying and selling of goods? Okay, fine. Let's go back and just read the paragraph. KMD Enterprise is a clothing shop with 4 branches. The management is trying to enhance their internal communication system. So see, this paragraph doesn't really help us to answer the question anyway, right? So guys, buying and selling of goods, you want to have an MIS system or a computerized system to help with that. And the answer for this one is in fact your transaction processing system. B, transaction processing system. Now, transaction processing system is like a point of sale machines, guys. When you go to purchase an item and you want to pay with your card, you swipe your card at that point of sale machine, money goes through, transferring from one bank account to another, and you get your item. That is an example of a transaction processing system that will help with buying and selling of goods. Great job, guys. Nicely done. Question 57, answer is in fact B, transaction processing system. Good job. Let's move on to question 58. Right, guys, question 58, here we go. A major function of CARICOM is to do what, guys? So what could you all help me out here with this one? A major function of CARICOM. Now, CARICOM stands for Caribbean Community. You guys know this. It is, in fact, an economic institution. All right. And, CARICOM, their main aim is to, question 58, guys. Yes, I'm seeing it in chat box there. Foster intra-regional trade and common services. So question 58, the answer is in fact D. Very well done. Awesome job, guys. Pretty good stuff so far. Well done. Time for us to move on to question 59. We're almost to the end, guys. So we're here now at question 59. Buying and selling of goods and services among countries is known as, well, you guys know this one. Let me give you guys a minute or two to put your answer in chat box. buying and selling of goods and services among countries. So from one country to another, when you import, when you export, what do we call that, guys? Yep, guys, what do we call it? Trade. Yes, it will be international trade. Very good. Nicely done. And final question for this afternoon, guys. Let's see if you could close off on a pretty good note here. You guys seem to have gotten almost everything correct so far. I'm very much impressed with your ability. Good job, guys. Let's close off on question 60. Which of the following practices would contribute to the economic growth and development of a country, guys? So you want this country to actually grow, economic growth and development, what could actually help? What could actually help a country to grow in terms of having economic growth, in terms of wealth and development? What could help? Well, the most obvious answer there would in fact be D, because all the other answers is working against your economic growth and development, as you guys realize. So D, provision of loans and technical assistance for establishing businesses that will help your country grow economically and will help with the development of your country as well. So great job. Answer for question 60 is in fact D. So guys, there we go. So we finished these 60 questions in about 60 minutes time, guys. That was pretty awesome for us. We went through it very well. We had some little explanations as we went along also. So hopefully you guys, got 50 and more correct in this paper, which I'm sure you guys did. That's our benchmark. Right, guys? I'm sure you guys did pretty well with this one in its entirety. Right, guys? So make sure and hit your like button. Make sure and subscribe to CXC to our channel. Make sure and click on that bell so you'll get notifications as when we release brand new content for you guys. Also, reminder that our POB Paper 1 crash course is going to be on Tuesday. So click on the link in the chat box there so you'll be able to sign up for that. When you sign up for that course, we're going to go through, some more papers. We're going to go through some more explanations. We're going to go through your syllabus and so on to make sure you guys are very much prepared for your POB Paper 1 exam coming up later on as well. Right, guys? So I think you guys are doing pretty well. I know you guys are doing pretty well. I believe in positivity and, based on the answers you all gave me chat box, I know you guys, are very much on your way to have success at your POB. Also, we're going to have another POB live session, paper 1 live session later on this week. I believe it's going to be tomorrow. So, make sure and sign up. Make sure and click that notification bell so you'll be able to get notified as to when we're going to release these programs and stuff for you guys. So looking forward to having you guys again later on this week for both that live session again as well as your PUB crash course. So hope you had a pretty wonderful session there. I did. So hoping to see you guys again pretty soon. So remember again, like and subscribe to Early to CXC. So guys, have a good one and we shall see each other again pretty soon.